All right, we've got a fun little thing today. A lot of you guys are used to putting the support under the bra strap. We are doing something a little different today, which is we're going to put something under our spine, like the long way. If you have an extra yoga mat, you could use a rolled up yoga mat. Because I don't just sort of, you don't mind. It's not too bad. Maybe.
So I've got two here. Do you want one of mine?
No, I think I'm fine without. Thanks so much. You guys are great. I love the yoga community. Very awesome. So yeah, and if somebody has a mat, if for some reason you're not going to do this, then you could share your mat to someone else who doesn't have one to recline around. But essentially, I wanted to show you two very distinct options. Okay. One is so just imagine this is a rolled up yoga mat. One is to start with your butt on the floor. And you want to have your feet flat like this so that you're supported in your core. I have to expand the screen to see if it's even catching me. Hang on. It's all teeny. There we go. Yeah. There, I'm on it. Awesome. And then to just slowly let yourself kind of lay back onto it. Now, this is obviously going to create an arch. For some people, that's going to be like, oh my God, yummy, yummy. And for others, it will pull, feel awkward, and you'll be doing it the other way in a moment. I'll show you. And in both positions or all of them, we just want to be able to let our arms, our whole shoulder head really rotate, open, pulse to the ceiling. So alternatively, you would sit right at the end. And I think this would be more kind of standard. More people are going to enjoy this and not get ouchy from it. And then you'll recline yourself on said yoga mat. Now you have the option if you're tall, for example, which I'm not, but this is shorter than a yoga mat, that you can then put something under your head. If the yoga mat's pretty flat and it feels good to you to let the head kind of drop down off the back, fine. But I don't want it like dropping where you're getting compression at the, at the neck at all. If your head is down, it should just feel like, oh, what a lovely opening. Okay. So if there's anybody who wants these, yeah. And you want the blue thing? The foam one or the bolster? It's plain. You're gonna use yours? You want to see that? That's right. Awesome. And I've got these two things for anybody. I know we've got a variety of things that people are using. Thanks for being flexible. Yeah, you probably could. You might want this though, in addition. Come see what you think. So again, I would say sitting with your butt at the end of your rolled up yoga mat and reclining that way is going to be a safer bet for most of us. Some people might want to explore the butt on the floor option. And again, at some point, if you're like, ooh, my head is dropping down, I don't like that, then you grab your block or whatever and tuck it under. So I'm really wanting to create a position that is sustainable and comfortable. Barbara.
I went to physical therapy for osteopenia, and they had me buy a roll like this and do this.
Oh, interesting. For a PT for osteopenia.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Prevention.
Sure.
Physical therapy.
Well, keep this in mind. Okay. And so this is a principle that we can apply to so many things throughout our day, but will help you think about why this might be useful. Anytime our body is out of neutral, so in the example, say shoulders forward of the spine, there's pressure on the spine. And as you're here and I'm talking, I invite you to tune into your breath. The breath is one of the most powerful change agents. I often say it's a massage from the inside that can help things reorganize, help those overly tight things relax. Again, rotating the palms open to the ceiling here, kind of intentionally tucking the wingtips of the shoulder blades underneath you would be wonderfully helpful. So, anytime we are out of neutral, like I said, there's pressure on the spine. And what I think a lot of us don't realize is that the spine itself does not keep the spine healthy. What keeps the spine healthy and spacious is our soft structure, right? So it's our soft tissue, the strength of our back muscles, the big erectors, the erector spinae between, that allow that spaciousness that keeps the nerves from being pinched, allows circulation, and so on. So anytime, frankly, that we're not, if we're standing, if we're not actively rooting and reaching, rising up through that crown, we're letting gravity have us. And there's a little bit of compression at the very least on the spinal column. Yeah, so notice how this is feeling. If at any point something's feeling nerve pinchy or what have you, adjust it or please come out. Otherwise, we'll come into our breath attention here. Light connection, tip of the tongue, roof of the mouth. The rest of the mouth spacious, soft. A deep inward gaze, especially during life that has so much attention grabbing. It says, take care of me, look at me, do this. We must get good at turning inward. So as you cross your eyes up and in, you might notice, what's going on in there today? How does it feel to be me? Did I come with any areas of the body that need me to be thoughtful, protective? Invitation to add ujjayi. That's that great sounding breath, so that as the breath passes through, it makes the whooshing sound of wind in the trees, ocean waves. And I hope each of you is finding something that just feels good. And maybe some discovery of an area that's like, wow, really tight. So if, for example, you feel a pull in bicep or across the chest, just having your arms be a little lower than the chest, that is an indication that you are way too tight through that front line. And that will often contribute to shoulders being drawn forward of the spine, contribute to nerve compression, carpal tunnel, and so on. A lot of carpal tunnel does not originate at the carpal tunnel. A lot of it originates from the shoulder and spine. We're going to stay here for another couple of minutes. If that's just like, ouch, this isn't right, I need to come off. Please come off by rolling to the side. Try not to lift your head directly up, especially if it's dropped back a little bit. And then you can remove the object to support and just return to your corpse pose on your back. I'm going to invite you to come into some very slow rounds, as slow as you can make them, of external and internal breath block. So external breath block is where we begin. You simply empty the breath and hold out. And we hold out softly. Our mouth is soft. Our tension is loving. And we're asking, can I soften around this? We know that we can breathe anytime we want, right? So you're completely safe. And so it's safe to play with softening around discomfort, noticing some of those tensions build in the lungs. Maybe for you, it shows up in your throat, etc. And then as you need to, inhale and hold in. Notice if your attention wanders, that's just normal. That's life, that's being human. And holding in and noticing that the holding in is different, right? The body is warming the breath and it will create progressive stretch from the inside. Again, we don't want to hold so long that we're like gasping for air or, oh, I got to let it go. It's a very subtle, attentive, again, can I soften around this? Can I melt? Can I spread? Can I allow? And the holidays can be such an intensive time for a lot of us. And so I would suggest this time on your mat is really a brilliant space where you get to observe how frequently your mind wanders away from your own experience, off to lists or other things that are going on, the world outside of you, and just get more and more adept at contracting the muscle of attention, going, oh, bring that attention back inside. And of course, you can also start to notice which tool for attention is most effective for you. Is it that inward gaze, light connection, tip of the tongue, ujjayi, asking, is there more? Sometimes people find it helpful to verbally witness the breath, inhaling, inhaling, exhaling, exhaling. The next time you're releasing a breath block, I'm going to invite you to simply let it go. And then in a few moments, I'll be giving you a timed exercise. And you're going to be simply watching a breath and counting. All right. So it'll be a little artificial because I'll say, okay, begin with your next inhale. So when you're ready, in about 5 seconds, I'm going to invite you to inhale, beginning now. And of course, you'll then exhale and just keep going like that. And this is just regular breath that isn't, holding out, holding in, just in and out. Noticing the moment of pause between the turns of the breath. Allowing yourself to float in that soft spaciousness. And in about 5 seconds, we're going to close the circuit. And that's now. Please take note of how many breaths you did in and out. I did remember to tell you to count, right? Oh, for crying out loud. Guess what? We get to do it again. All right. Oh, what a dork. That's me. All right. When you're ready, exhaling. And when you're ready, take that next inhale now. And you're counting each full cycle of inhale, exhale. And noticing the pause between the turns of the breath. In a few seconds, we'll be closing that cycle, and that is now. All right, I'm just curious if you could kind of yell out how many full cycles. 5, 5, 5, 7, 2, 2. Wow. Okay, 5, 7, 2. So a lot of fives. Cool. 2.5. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I realized you might have, exhaled but not inhaled, or inhaled but not exhaled. So in general, what we'd like, and you guys are all pretty close there, and given that I didn't tell you, what the goal was on purpose, is if we did about 6 breaths per minute, that would be lovely. 5 is even better. That's even slower. Okay. So if you're, and if you're 7, that's not outrageous. But there are people who will do anywhere like 10 breaths a minute. And that's a great indication that the lungs are not really expanding fully, etc. So this is exciting. Well, we're going to come off our object of support. So when you're ready, just roll to the side, move it out of your way. If you need support under your low back, you could shift it to under your knees, for example. But otherwise, just get comfortable on your back, legs straight or bent, and just begin to roll the head side to side. So we know that most people exist with their head forward of neutral, right? And again, we've talked about the dangers of anything out of neutral. Head forward of neutral has so many consequences. It's immediately jamming up all of the veins and so on, and arteries and lymph and everything that are in all of these delicate spaces. And a lot of times, head forward could be one of the contributing factors to TMJ and to equilibrium disturbance, getting kind of woozy and off and whatever because of too much tension right through here. So this is a great opportunity to just notice like what's in that side neck, maybe roll the head all the way to one side, hold and breathe, all the way to the other. One of the other consequences of head forward is that we're more likely to have our shoulders come forward, and again, stress on that cervical spine, where so often people have osteoporosis, but also makes us more likely to fall. All right, coming back to neutral with your head, we're going to do that other plane of motion, reaching the chin firmly up and back, and then bringing the chin in towards the throat. So that's keeping the head on the floor and really elongating, reaching the crown of the head for the back of the room, like we've done during those fascial stretching and spine exercises. All right, coming back to neutral, we're going to come into a combination of lion stretch and compression breathing. And then on the inhale, you can bring arms overhead or whatever feels juicy. All right, let's actually start with the inhale. So nice big inhale, maybe arms reaching overhead. On the exhale, initiating belly to spine, spine to floor, bringing your elbows down if you'd like by your ribs, and you can make claw hands as you open your jaw really wide. Again, that whole front body is anchoring, powering. You're squeezing thighs, butt cheeks, flexing feet, curling, whatever. Inhale, release either to a soft position or again, a reach. Asking, is there more? Can I get extra inhale, exhale, compression breath. Sticking the tongue out, drawing the base of the tongue down towards the throat. As we come into more cold and flu season, this can be a really great way to lubricate all those tissues through the lymph and throat and kind of ward stuff off. Also, wear your scarf. Looking good. One more. And releasing corpse pose. Swallow, notice. My hope is that you just feel a little buzzy, a little more alert, a little more energized. We're going to, come into abdominal pumping. Biggest massage for our central body ever. Inhaling slow, deep, and wide as if it's all you'd ever do. Nice Buddha belly breath. Exhale, empty. Hold out, external breath lock, and begin that pumping. Draw in and press out. I find that this kind of internal massage is a really helpful tool for, again, being awake, becoming present for whatever your day and your life holds. It's a wonderful way to kind of get into yourself enough to be in your center, groundedness, have good boundaries. So it's just a wonderful foundation for life. And of course, when you need to breathe, let the pumping go. I often feel like sighing breath because it was a lot of work. And we'll come into another round. And I invite you to speed or slow that pumping. I was talking to a friend over the weekend. It's always fun to talk to. He's a nurse and just very thoughtful about the body. And he was saying, yeah, it's so cool. Whenever I do abdominal pumping, my back always clunks, either at the front, actually the sternum, or at the back at the cervical spine on the other side of that. And I was like, I definitely feel a pull in that area. So I think this is also just so good for, again, loosening the diaphragm, the lung space. Anybody notice it's kind of hard to breathe in that cold when you go outside? A little more challenging. Yeah. Ah, lovely. When this is all complete, about drawing those shoulder blades together a little bit underneath you. And, we were talking about the groin, and it's really easy. A lot of people get a kind of a sensitivity or a pull through here. If you can, this is a great place to get a good stretch in that area, unless it hurts, by firmly engaging the thigh muscle down, the quadricep, even lighting up the butt cheek. So feel it kind of light up against the floor, flexing so firmly through that extended heel. And that offers a stretch globally through this whole area of kind of groin, hip flexor. So you guys feel that with that extra engagement? Cool. Nice work. Yeah, a lot of getting the goods requires just trying to communicate in the minutia of some of our body parts that we normally don't have a conversation about. All right, go ahead and take your right leg to the sky, point, flex, and roll. Then with both heels firmly flexed again, really lighting up that floor leg still. Exhale, anchor the back, and slowly descend. It's like you're trying to paint a stripe on the wall in front of you. And when you reach the floor, a sense of melting. And guiding the left knee into the belly and the right leg extending. And again, if you're somebody who frankly has kind of weak glutes, they don't maybe fire up very often, intentionally talking to them is going to be important if you want them to be more responsive. So, feeling kind of contracting it and feeling it kind of bounce against the floor, or taking your hand there and saying, hey, are you contracted? And then contracting it against your touch. Is this side different? As you focus on really firmly reaching away through that floor leg and anchoring down through the thigh, are you feeling an enhanced stretch? Is it different than the other side? Again, feet flexed is really important here. One of the things that I love about yoga is it does make us more aware of our feet, and we tend to be just sort of floppy footed and we don't know what's going on down there. Yoga can help transform that. All right, inhaling, extend that left leg straight up to the sky. Again, take time to point, flex, and roll. And on your exhale, root and slowly descend. Did anybody do any heel lifts or jumping or anything during the cold times to keep your body going? You did? All right. All right, we're going to then come into our bridge pose. So if you like the block between the thighs, you notice that gives you that extra hello. By all means, add it, because we want to light up that whole inner thigh, low glute, pelvic floor. We think about anchoring through the footbed and still kind of working with that shoulder blades tucked under. So either with palms rotated open, or I really like the upper arm anchored like so, elbow bent, fingers towards the ceiling. I find that gives me a lot of powering down through the upper arm and getting that shoulder blade squeeze. Good. Inhale, slow, deep, and wide, as if it's all you'd ever do. Just being in the moment. When the exhale comes, belly towards spine, let it curl the pelvis up, and then intentionally press the hips up as you power down through the arms. If you're feeling pressure in the neck, lift the chin up and back a little bit. On the inhale, please come down one rib at a time. So this is that sort of releasing under load that we were talking about, where you're using the glute and thigh muscles to slow the descent. So they're working and letting go at the same time. It's kind of cool. This is a really key pose to integrate daily if you can. It's, as you guys know, it's probably my top pose. Partly because being weak in the butt and the thighs is one of the things that will cause us the most harm and put us at risk the most for falling, among other things. And when we aren't using these, we're overusing everything else. Our low back suffers, our neck and shoulders suffer. So this is a powerhouse that we want to keep lively, awake, responsive to our every need. I had to remind myself again, going up the stairs this morning, I was kind of leaning forward. And I was like, no, I'm going to come up. And I went, and I got that butt working. All right, go ahead and release the block. Bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees settle open and butterfly towards the floor. This is another root strengthening pose, core and root. And so unless it hurts, this is an amazing one to do and to hold. We're going to hold for about a minute. When you're ready, raise the hips just a little off the floor. It's like foot hover. We don't want to go high. We're going to hold about a minute, but you could hold this for 3-4 minutes. Remind you, I discovered this in a How to Improve Your Golf Game book. I don't remember why I was reading it because I don't play golf. I do have a lot of golfers, so maybe I was motivated. I'm not sure. But I really love it. And I found when I first did it, I couldn't even lift my hips because I was like not sure which muscles to talk to. Maybe some of you had that experience early on as well. So I'm hoping now, though, you're able to hold with a sense of peace and ease for about another 30 seconds. Slow, abiding breath, training that deep attention, tethering your attention to that amazing body of yours. And coming slowly down, let those hips settle. Then let the knees settle. And then let your body relax. Most people want to just straighten the legs after that pose, but whatever feels good to you. Just take a moment. We're going to come into one last posture here on our back, our reclined pigeon, really give our hips. Actually, I think we'll do 2 more, but we'll do the windshield wiper too. So giving our hips some opening when we're not weight bearing, very useful. We'll cross the right ankle on the left thigh. You can flex the heel, give that knee a little wag. Raise the left leg so that you bring the knee towards you and then hug that right knee tight. Again, no wings, no shrugs through the shoulders. Direct the power to your center body. Send it a little to the center. You know, I love reminding myself and you that, you know, yeah, this is a stretch for the hip, but that doesn't mean we don't have to use our core. We don't just use our core when we're doing core strengthening. We pretty much use it for existence and taking the pressure off of the areas that aren't designed for it, like our neck and shoulders. Breathe and notice, make any little adjustments that make life better. And then as you're ready, you'll switch and you'll cross left ankle onto right thigh. You can do that little knee wag. And this is a neat one too, that you can even do, you know, sitting in a chair. I know we end up there a lot for the holidays. If you're sitting in a chair, you could just cross the ankle onto the thigh and then kind of hinge your chest towards that leg. Oh, feels so good. If you're sitting on the sofa and you're watching a movie or whatever, and giving your body these alternate shapes, sending breath into the places that feel stagnant, tight. Is this side different? Yeah, when you come out, feel free to, you know, kick, shake, do whatever you want to do. And then continuing laying on your back, although this is something one can do seated as well, which is how I happen to be showing it today. But you're going to take the right knee down and in towards the center line of the mat, and then the left. You got it. And I want you to just notice, see if you can keep your other foot flat on the floor. So as I bring my right knee down, I'm keeping my left sole of my foot connected to the floor. It's going to reduce some of the pressure on low back, but perhaps increase the stretch right through that deep inner line of the dropped knee. See what you think. The next time your right knee is down, we're going to reach that right arm up. And I invite you to do what I call kind of a pumping motion, or like you're pulling on a pulley. So reach the arm overhead towards the wall behind you, and then firmly with resistance. Like imagine you've got a TheraBand or a pulley or something, and you're bringing your elbow down by your ribs and then reaching. And this is just marvelous for lubricating that whole shoulder girdle line, getting it ready for whatever you're going to do today. The number of people I know who've gotten shoulder injuries because they were pulling a bit of wrapping paper off of the top shelf of a closet or something like that, you know. All right, let's switch. So left knee down and left arm reaching. So again, if you're able to stay on the sole of the other leg, in general, I find that gives me a more intense stretch, but also keeps my back safe. Yeah, again, that nice active pumping, pulling. Imagine I'm holding your hand from behind and not making it easy for you to pull down. This can actually be a fun one to have someone do that to you. Got somebody in the household. Just get a grandkid to sit on the end of your hand. All right, coming on back to center. Please take all the time in the world to join me. We're coming up to standing. We're going to go sideways on our mat right away. And let's just face that way. There's some beautiful marks of sunshine on the snow in that backyard there. And initially, we're just going to go side to side again, say hello to our knees and our hips. How's everybody today? And I walked into the corner of the bed, right in the middle of my left eye. And it's still just like a lump, you know, sore. But again, it probably will benefit from circulation. So there we go. All right, take those feet as wide as you comfortably can. Now, just if it hurts your ankle, back off. But otherwise, we're going to go wide, and then we're going to hold to one side. So I'm showing it with my hands up on my thighs, but you might find yourself wanting to go down with one hand or both. Be careful if you've got a little bit of a groin pull, especially. Notice what might aggravate it. Don't go too far. And then notice the value of pulsing. So I'm going to go like all the way to my edge, and I'm going to release a little and repulse towards that edge. And of course, breathing. The breathing helps ensure that we're not going to get injured or make it more likely because we're paying attention, right? We're not distracted and all of a sudden we've gone too far. So notice if your knee is trying to go past your foot, you're going to lose contact with that inner foot. And your foot's going to curl? Yep, exactly. That's telling you need a wider stance. Nice. Go to the other side, breathe, and apply that same kind of go to your edge and pulse away. Go to your edge. This is with a deep tuning in. I mean, we want to know, how's this going? Is there any part that's complaining? Do I need to make an adjustment? And if you guys don't know what the sound is, this is a hand pan. This the beautiful round metal disc. It looks like a flying saucer, and it has little dips. Kenton was playing one at the wedding. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Coolest ever. All right. Come back to center if you would. Using your hands on your thighs, come up about like this and walk your feet in so it's like more of a squat dimension versus the widest ever. Bring your little cow cat. Inhaling, tailbone back, heart forward. Make sure those shoulder heads are down the back. Exhaling, tuck the tailbone and let that power, that curl, roll up the spine, head hang. Inhaling, tailbone draws back. Reach the heart forward. You can even add a little shoulder blade squeeze. Exhaling, tuck. Let that head relax down. We'll do one more like that. I love remembering that these things, a lot of what we do can be done standing. So if you're at some relative's house and there's nowhere to get on the floor, you don't want to, you're in a hotel or whatever. We had that in an Airbnb. I'd walked around with, it looked very clean, but I was in cream socks and then they weren't so cream. I was like, I'll do my standing practice, thank you. And then as you're ready, keeping shoulder heads down, take one shoulder towards the opposite knee. And you're going to have to really, kind of work it to get the stretch that I'm inviting you to feel through that rib and waistline. And then the other shoulder. So in order to get this, I'm turning, I didn't tell you this, but I'm rotating my hand so my fingers are inside. Notice if that makes it easier to then rotate that shoulder head. You guys feeling that through there? Yeah? Oh, good. Obviously, if you have shoulder injuries or they're unstable or something and this isn't feeling good, don't go for it. When you come up, we're going to come up and we are going to just enjoy finding all the engagement in standing jet airplane. I'm going to fire up my feet, all four corners. I'm going to fire up my thigh muscles. I'm going to butt cheeks, shoulder blades rotating in towards the spine, fingers spreading wide. The only thing that's not working here, neck and face. Light connection with the tongue. I'm going to do a coming in and out of this. So first, just simply let it go. You go. Good. And when you're ready, reinvigorate. And you're going to breathe throughout. So you can match this with breath or not. I don't care. And release. Continue to do that a couple more times. And notice if, for example, you are tightening your neck unnecessarily, or another habit sometimes is sending the ribs forward. We actually want to draw the shoulder blades back and in, but without sending the ribs forward. So we're actually using these muscles under our breast chest area, boom, to draw back. It's a big part of our core. One more. And hoping you can feel in this engaged pose just a sense of personal presence and power. And if, in fact, you are somebody who struggles with boundaries and saying no and what have you, especially when it comes to family and holidays and stuff, I just want to remind you that doing some of these body awakenings engagements can be a really helpful tool as you enter some of those times. Releasing, we're going to roll out wrists and then intertwine yoga mudra, shoulder head circle, and then pressing down towards the floor through the fist. Again, I'm still using my butt and thighs a little bit because I don't want to end up with, the whole body just hanging. We want to feel super stable, and then we add that heart opening. You may pump the hands away from the hips and return. You can hold with them back and then very slowly rotate the head. I say slowly because, again, we have all these intricate lines, the SCM and the scalenes and stuff all around that collarbone and behind the ear. Yeah, and then as you're ready, release. We're going to bring one arm in front and thread the needle. Just make sure those shoulder heads are anchored. Usually the hand at about the elbow is going to give you the best stretch. If you're higher, usually you won't get much. So right about there. And then notice again, just if you ignite the hand of that crossed arm, in most of our case, I think it's the right, you really ignite the hand and kind of straighten through that elbow. You might get a little extra something, and then tilt down towards that hand and rotate your face to look at your left elbow or the floor or whatever. And this is where I find I can get into some of these, again, intricate connections. These are the places that when people come for massage, they're like, oh, yeah, right there. Oh, right there. When you come out, I'm going to have you bend your elbow 90 and just do a big circle with the elbow. Gorgeous. And other side. And we've been talking about how things can be released by squeezing and releasing, squeezing and releasing. The other really important principle, I think it's called Harrington's principle, but it's basically partnering muscle groups, that it's only when we're contracting one that the opposite one can let go. So hamstrings and quads would be an example. But also when we are squeezing those shoulder blades together like we did in Yoga Mudra, the opportunity for release through the front is just fantastic. Is this side different? Again, I sometimes will just do gentle movements with my head. I'll kind of go a little left and right. Big breath into the back body. Good. Bend that elbow and give yourself, again, the biggest circle. Marvelous. You guys are looking good. Okay, I'm going to have you come out, roll those ankles out a moment. Do a couple of heel pumps, why not? Jump around. All right, we're going to come into our, I like that. Dancing is actually an awesome way to shift your energy. So I hope you'll put on some good tunes at some point over the holidays. Just boogie woogie. All right, train tracks. So you're going to start at the front of the mat. Feet are in mountain. So usually about like 6 inches apart. If you're closer than that, you're going to end up feeling like you're on a balance beat, and I don't want that. Okay. Hands on hips can just help remind you to keep the hips straight forward versus opening. And we're just going to slowly step back with the right foot onto the ball. So you can see it's not a big long lunge, right? It's just, maybe a foot and a half or something. Then slowly lower your right heel, intending to lay it in the track, like it started. Then look underneath, see if it's in the track. And I mean in the track, right? So it should feel a little weird if it's in the track. It might feel a little pigeon-toed. And if you're like standing up now and you're like, I don't feel anything, you could probably scooch your left foot forward. So I do that with that kind of toe scooch, like that. Good. And once you are where you think is an edge, you feel maybe a stretch through the calf. Maybe you feel a little bit of something through and around the thigh of that back leg. That's a great indicator that you're in a good spot. And we're going to hold there, and we're going to do a little pumping through the arms. So we're going to inhale up. Make sure you're not arching back. Exhale, pull back like you're pulling on a TheraBand. Good. Now, as you're doing that, notice, are you losing any connection in the front of or the inside of the forward foot? If so, think about squeezing your inner thighs like you're pinching a piece of paper, and use that to anchor down through that foot. Couple more. Really feel that back line light up. You might be adding the butt cheeks squeezing forward a little bit. Last time. And return to your mountain. If that leg that was back feels a little rubbery or weird, good job. You did it. And then let's do the other side. Of course, speak up with questions, and always make sure your feet start absolutely straight forward, weirdly straight forward, and send that left foot back. Follow the foot, and steering your right hip bone back, left hip bone forward, kind of squeezing that piece of paper before you even get into the pose can help. Land that foot, check. Move it a little or a lot until it is in the track. Back heel a little more to the outside. They're doing other way. Yep. A little more to the outside, Kathleen. Yep, that back one. Yep, Kiana, a little more. Yep. And if you can't get your heel straight back, you have to shorten your stance then. Right. Good. Yeah, good. Nice noticing. Subtle. Yeah, and it's easy to miss out on the subtle. More on that back heel. And if you can't get it more on the outside, you can shorten. There you go. That's right. All right, let's do our pumping. Again, really firing up the butt cheeks, both of them, but particularly that back one is going to bring you into a little stretch. Again, if that aggravates a groin injury or anything, back off of that butt engagement. Reaching up, and reminder, you don't have to be parallel with the shoulders. You could be up and wide so that you're not getting neck tension. Just our bodies are all real different. I only want you to take on goodness. Your body thanks you right now. And it's like, thank you for helping me hone this intelligence that will make me more stable in the world, reduce my back pain, and all the other bits. Last couple. Squeeze, squeeze, soft, soft. And come forward, notice. Now I invite you to take your feet just a little wide, nice deep knee bend, ragdoll. And I'm doing kind of I think of this like an 8 or an infinity symbol with my hips. So I'm gonna knees bent, I'm gonna take my right hip a little forward and then out and back, and with my left hip do the same. You can do whatever you want. They're just nice and organic so that you're feeling all these movements and connections between hips and knees, IT band, hamstrings, 3 different ones. All right. And when you feel ready, nice big inhale, big exhale, step back to your downward facing dog. Or come up and then fold again. Yes. Never feel like this is not synchronized to me. So do your thing, please. Yeah. Intelligent hands, spread those fingers wide. Again, just like our feet, the more that we are awake to the very tips of us, it will change how we move through space, both physically and emotionally. Shoulder heads circle open away from the neck, out and down. Breathe, reduce the weight in your hands by engaging the core. So it won't understand. Take care. Wait. All right, we're coming all the way to our bellies. We're going to be doing a little cobra pumping. So flowing forward, you can do plank to chaturanga, whatever you want. And we're going to anchor through pelvic triangle. So squeezing the glutes down to anchor through pubic bone and the hip bones. We're going to have our hands like this for cobra, but I want you to check something a second. I want you to lift your palms just a little off the floor. And then you can kind of go back and forth if you want. But what I want you to do is end up in no wings. So elbows are in and no shrugs, shoulders are down. Then plant your hands, okay? Inhaling, extend to cobra. Exhaling, return. We're going to be here for a few rounds. So this is your chance to really notice slowly through the movements that you're using the right stuff. I'm going to offer the option, some of you are already doing it a little bit, of having a little bit of engagement with the arms. But here's the important thing. We do not want to push our body back or we'll be compressing the spine, all right? So you have to be drawing forward through the heart. And then if you would like, you could add arm engagement either all the way to a knee down upward dog or keeping the hips on the floor. But if I push more than what I'm pushing right now, with hips on the floor, I'm going to push my torso back and compress my spine. So always thinking about length. And then as you're ready, release back to your child's pose. Speaking of length, if you can bring your tailbone back, but reach those hands forward and invite that deep chest stretch, please do. How are you guys doing? Good. Finding the little nuggets in there. Tight things to release and weak things to strengthen. Yay. I come into a little bit of shoulder release work, and we haven't done this one for a long time. It's actually works to help release fascia and such. You're going to start off in table pose. Then you're going to be coming down onto one forearm. I'm staying on my other hand. I'm not coming down. Okay, so you're going to stay on that hand. Again, no wings, no shrugs. And if you can bring the forearm that you lay down a little towards the center line, I don't need all the way to, I just need a little in from your shoulder. And then first and most important is you're going to come into your core. So belly to spine, boom. And then what you're doing, folks, is you're actually tractioning back with this forearm, like you want to pull your yoga mat back. You aren't actually bringing your arm anywhere. It's staying exactly where it is, and you're engaging back, okay? So with that engagement, you then slowly bring your hips back towards your heels. And this will be a little bit like what we were talking about of releasing under load. You guys feel that? Somewhere like right around here below, kind of the right at the connection of the armpit, lat area. If you're not feeling it, often it's people's arms started too close to their knee. So make sure that your elbow is far enough forward, that you're in your core. I see a couple people kind of arching and collapsing. I want to get that little belly into my low back. Breathe, traction. Some of you have your palm of the tractioning arm flat. I would come into a fist. So the tractioning arm, you want to be rotated so you're on that side of the forearm. And please speak up if you've got questions. But again, you're breathing, give yourself plenty of inhale. Exhale, belly to spine traction, bring the hips back. Inhale, you can come forward out of that. And exhaling, return. I've got to say that. So you ideally do about 5 or 6, at least on that one side. And then when you're ready, you'll switch. And yeah, it may feel good to roll out wrist or give it some range of motion, circling or something. Is there anybody who's not getting anything or not anything good? Okay, excellent. Let's go again. Coming down to that other forearm. Remember, the hand of the other arm, the one that's not being stretched, is flat. You're not coming onto the forearm. So you do not have both forearms on the floor like you would for forearm beating. Well, which one is stretched? There you go. Yes, so it's as if you start our table and then just come onto one forearm. The other hand stays flat. The reason for that is I want you to stay in your core. I want that shoulder down. I want you to be really connected. Yeah. And then sometimes I like holding in the position and taking the breath. Sometimes I'll find my best stretch there. Yeah. Yeah, and so by the way, I'll come back to the camera here. Sometimes people will feel like twingy on the front of the arm, like into the outside of the arm. That is a great indicator that there is an overabundance of tension through here and through here. So a lot of times if I'm massaging somebody and I try to take their arm over their head and it hurts through here, it's generally because we're too tight here. So it's pulling on the joint, and these guys are having to work overtime to lift the arm. So a lot of what leads to injury and frozen shoulder and all of that, people feel it here, but it's the silent partner stuff. It's here. And that's why, these side stretches and hanging from a jungle gym and all of that is so valuable. Yeah, nice. Any other questions bubble up about this traction? Anybody notice a big side to side difference? Yeah. So I have an old car accident injury that happened right through here. And man, when I first started doing this side was like, it was like having a, Motown song going off in my head or something. I was like, what? And then immediately after the first time I did it, the first round, it transformed. It was releasing old scar tissue. So not everybody's going to have something that intense, but a lot of us are very one-handed dominant, or may have slipped on the ice and not even realized that they strained it, or, even tore some tissue. Yeah. Any other just questions or noticings before we sort of wind down? I want to give you guys a really nice resting period for your nervous system today. Okay, we're actually going to be coming into a breath technique, and If you prefer something else, if you're like, oh, I just prefer the basic breath blocks that we just did, you could do that. Otherwise, taking us into the box breath. And a lot of people like that for, again, for focus, people who find that their mind is constantly running away with them. Apparently, sure it's more than rumor, but that's all I have it for. This has been used by the Navy SEALs to develop focus and attention and so on for the life that they live. So you could do it in any position. If you've got a bolster, what a wonderful experience it can be to place the block and then the bolster on the block. And then you simply sit on the floor and recline onto the bolster. If anyone has a bolster and they're like, I'm not using that, maybe just, announce and give it up for grabs. Colette's got one there if anybody would like to do the one down. Think how awesome. Claimed, I love it. And actually, I realized the other day that I have all these bolsters at the Third Mountain Carriage House that I've yet to bring back for the season. So I will be doing that. We'll need them again in winter and we'll have more bolstering. Bolster our bolsters. So whatever position you want to be in, a seated meditation, laying down, you can have your legs up the wall. And if at any point this position just feels like you're in it too long, you can change it for your Shavasana time. We're going to do about 5 minutes of focused breath work, and then about 4 minutes of that, and about 5 minutes of yogic rest, where we're not trying to do anything. So first, just get yourself to where you are. Take a moment, scan your body. Is there anything that could be adjusted that would make this just feel more And if you need something that's not within your reach, I'm happy to be a runner. You could give me a wave and signal me. Then we're going to once again direct our focus inward. Turn the eyes up and in, third eye, center of the forehead. Begin to see the entire body and breath apparatus, your lungs, diaphragm, and intercostals. Whenever you're ready, you'll begin your box breathing. And essentially, you inhale to the count of 4, whatever that length is that's comfortable for you. You hold in internal breath lock to the count of 4. Then you exhale for the count of 4. And then you hold out for the count of 4. And it can take a little while to dial that in so that you're neither rushed nor starved for oxygen. Keep adjusting it in those first few rounds, and you'll probably finally settle into something that feels just right. So again, it's just 4 behaviors: breathing in, breathing out, holding out. Notice if your mind has wandered and begin again. Notice if you're taking on tension anywhere unnecessarily, face, neck, etc., and invite those areas to relax into your focused breath work, pranayama. I'd like to offer a little add-on if you would like. You could just stick with counting. But some people really enjoy using this breath practice as a time to cycle a mantra through. And what I usually do is pick a mantra that has 3 elements, and then the pause is the fourth beat, if you will. So I might inhale and think, I am whole, I am well, I am safe. Pause. Hold in. Repeat mantra. There's another wonderful mantra that we've shared as a group for many decades now. Plenty of time, plenty of health, plenty of money. Pause. Maybe you have one of your own you'd like to create. I don't know about any of you, but sometimes it's hard for me to be as gentle and patient and kind during getting together with lots of people as I would like. And so, it can be wonderful to have a mantra at the ready to kind of guide your experience and your behavior. And you can even do this while you're around people. And most people will not know that you're doing box breath or running a mantra. But it could be, be patient, be kind, be generous, or find it funny. If you would like to continue with your pranayama practice, this breath practice, feel free. Otherwise, I invite you now for the last few minutes of practice to let your focus, your efforts go, to simply settle into the soft, spacious rest of a baby sleeping. You might notice your abdomen gently rising, falling, your face muscles progressively softening. It's as if gravity just got more powerful, helping you sink and settle down, down, and down. Just begin to expand your breath and come into a scan of your body, gathering any information and wisdom that you can carry with you throughout the day. to be a powerful time to thank and appreciate your body for all the ways that it is whole and well and constantly healing and recalibrating on your behalf. And inviting you to gently begin to be aware of the room that we share, the folks around you, a sense of the larger river of life happening out there. And using this moment to just be clear with yourself of anything that you want to carry with you, whether it's something from the yoga practice specifically, more of an awareness of how you want to move through the world or what's needed in order to maintain your sense of the centered groundedness or generosity, whatever it is. You might decide to close your practice with a brisk rub of the hands, igniting your own healing life force prana. Then you can turn the hands and that energy in towards face, chest, belly. You might be in that sort of 10 to 12 inches off the body in the energy field, or choose to come into direct contact. Thank you again for coming to the mat, for your tapas, your resolve in your yoga practice, letting me share with you all this fun and wild stuff. See you next week. Om Shanti Shanti. Om peace, peace. Namaste. Have fun being you. Nobody's going to do it for you. Thanks for being here.